Boom, it's recording. Sweet. Okay, so we are going to get started. Keegan is going to basically lead class for us today, and then we'll kind of just play it by ear with what we need to do. We are supposed to hear from who today?
Brandon?
Is it Brandon's day today? What? Oh, it's Julie. Okay, good. I was like, no, I don't think it's Brandon's week this week. Brandon's next week.
Oh, okay.
So, Brandon, again, don't forget your week is next week. So we expect you here in class. Just show up when you can. Make sure you're here before 4:45 because that's when class gets over. So,
Where did you do the student teaching?
it's not far.
Oh.
It's 10, 15 minutes from here. Wait, where did you say?
I thought he's from Fall City.
I really don't know. Brandon, help us out. Where are you doing your student teaching at? Falls City? Or are you from Falls City?
Can you do your student teaching where you're from?
You can't do your student teaching where you're from.
Oh.
So that's the thing, yeah. Like, where is he?
For some reason, I think
He's either from Falls City or he's doing his student teaching in Falls City, or neither. He might be at HTRS or something like that, yeah. Before Julie wows us with her presentation, okay? Do you need a PowerPoint or anything like that, or? Yeah. Before we do that, I have your flight information. So, for reals, yeah.
I really thought it wasn't going to happen.
No, I have your flight information. So I am giving that to you. Oh, no Josh and you. It doesn't matter, and you just take one. Everybody's information is the same on it.
I love this.
Okay.
Somehow I got prepared.
Yeah, you love it? All right, good.
What do you need?
It's the
It says we're leaving in the
type of
morning.
boarding pass.
We all leaving at the same time?
Yes. It's
So you don't get to drink all day on your birthday.
the reason why we are leaving in the morning. If you notice, we have an extra stop. Normally, what I have known from people who have traveled in the past before, there are 3 total stops. You go from Omaha to like a major city, and then you go straight to your destination. But for whatever reason, we're going from Omaha to Chicago to Munich, then to
Why are there 2
Helsinki.
Chicagos and 2 Munichs?
What's Munich?
In Germany, isn't it?
It's in Germany.
Oh, that's cool.
So there are 2 departing ones because I'm assuming one is when we land at 12:31 p.m. in Chicago, and then the other one is when we depart.
Oh, we have so much time in
Yeah,
Chicago.
I know, dude.
I know, and I'm looking at that going, okay, so because you're not supposed to sleep. You're supposed to sleep that whole time.
Right.
But we're not going to sleep at the airport, so, and then like, there's still a situation, like we leave Munich at 8:25 a.m., and then we land in Helsinki, so we're going to miss out on 2 extra hours of sleep right there. Easy. So you might want to sleep a little more the day before. Yeah, you'll still turn, you'll still turn,
Because I turned 21 at 12:15 on the days. I didn't actually.
oh, they don't look at it like that. They look at it at midnight.
Oh, well then I'll turn in Munich.
Yeah, in Munich.
No, I do not.
Well, actually, you'll be in the air between
It's
Chicago
gonna
and
be a
Munich.
big one. if
Yeah,
that's
you guys will still be on the airplane.
Frankfurt.
Okay. Hold on, wait. One question at a time.
70s.
On the plane from Chicago to Munich. Yeah, but
Yes,
how many
correct.
hours is that?
Wait, I thought. Oh, just kidding.
It's from 3:45 to 8:25 the next day. Yeah,
But how many hours?
it's roughly 7 to 8 hours. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's enough time to sleep.
If you actually sleep.
I'll take
I'm
that.
just saying, because some of you are going to be pretty jacked up, like, oh, I'm on a big airplane, because it's a big airplane, and you have to walk through first class, and then they do come through the cabin and they feed you 3 times, so they,
3 times in 7 hours?
yeah,
Okay, so this is.
yeah, really.
I guess I also
Sorry.
don't eat breakfast, so that's why it's all day.
So you'll have a supper in Chicago within an hour of you getting on the plane. Then within another 2 hours you'll have
It's like Nike design.
something. They'll give you a meal in the middle of the night, and then in the morning you'll have some kind of breakfast. They won't wake you up if they think you're sleeping. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a little forehead. Do not bother.
They actually will give everyone eye masks.
Does it say do not bother?
No, but if your eye mask is on, they will not bother you. Because again, they will assume that you are sleeping. On the back side of this paper, there are several notes that you should take a look at. Okay? And Brandon, I'll email this to you. Okay? Yeah, Claudia, she's the one we've been working with. She's a fantastic help.
Can you post this on the Blackboard, just in case?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking at reviews right now, and I've got like 4 stars out of 5, 7 stars out of 10, and then like one of the first questions was, is the Lufthansa safe to fly? And it says, Lufthansa has one of the best safety airlines, so yes, it is very safe to travel with them. In addition, they offer one of the most luxurious travel experiences, even for those in economy. Ooh. Luxurious.
No, we are not flying first class. If you want to add an extra another $4,000 to your ticket, then yes, you sure can. You what?
I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
What about like, I've never flown before, so like carry-ons and stuff.
Yeah, that'll be the next thing. I didn't know we were getting this today. I just got this before I got in here. So that'll be one of the next things we talk about. So yeah. And then we'll go to it's United and Lufthansa.
And Air Canada.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Air Canada.
But we're gonna go to Canada.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well,
Germany, Canada, Finland, Sweden. And if you look, our Canadian layover actually, it's like 4 or 5 hours. It's from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you have some time to maybe quickly do something downtown Toronto or whatever.
you think we could go to like, I don't know, what's
Yeah,
some
you
more
have to go through
famous?
security again.
Post area. Yes, you would have to go through security again if you do that. Yeah.
Let's look out the window. Wow, Canada looks good.
I'm gonna go.
So, there are things that, like just little notes for you guys. You should definitely arrive 3 hours prior to the flight, because it's typical for international flights, which is interesting because you're not really. Our international flight is really going out of Chicago, so that would be the one we'd really need to show up 3 hours for. Since we're in Omaha, you can
Like an
you
hour and a half?
at the minimum an hour and a half. Yes, I would be much more comfortable with you showing up 2 hours before.
So like arrive at like
Yeah.
8. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Does anyone want to?
We'll talk about that too. Yeah.
I'm not in Germany.
I'm gonna cuddle with
Yeah. But I will let you know.
Cause yeah, Doug's gonna take us.
So we'll definitely take a look at the baggage fees. What kind of bags we can take on United and Lufthansa flights?
I know with United you get 1 free carry-on and then 1 like personal item, and then a check bag is like $25.
Yep.
At least it was like
Perfect.
December.
Yeah, I don't need all of those bags.
Right. No, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah. So.
Check-in's like $25. You get 1 free carry-on and a personal item.
Look at you get some.
Personal items are always free.
How likely is it?
International.
Maybe a
That's
10%
better than,
chance.
Like, when I flew Frontier, I had to pay like.
Especially since we're changing flights 4 times. So that's definitely a possibility, but that's pretty much down to a science now. I mean, they do a really pretty good job anymore of making sure the right luggage gets on the right plane. However, in your carry-on, you always want to make sure you have at least a day's worth of clothes and underwear and undergarments. Any kind of medicine, prescription medicine that you'd be taking, probably contacts if you have. So I in my carry-on, I always carry on a change of clothes that includes undergarments and all of my toiletries.
What's like the size? Because I know that through some security, it's like it has to be like a
certain
Your carry-on?
ounces for liquid, and they have to be in
Oh,
a
wait.
see-through bag.
Liquids have to be.
So,
Yeah, how many ounces can they be? 3 ounces.
3 ounces or
And
less.
they have to be in like a see-through bag thing, like if you have
Okay.
multiple.
That is correct.
so for the Lufthansa baggage requirements for, looks like the carry-on has to be less than 50 pounds, and then the personal item has to be less than 17 pounds.
Yeah.
So in a checked bag, you can take like any size liquid, or?
No. In a checked bag, yes. In a checked bag, you put whatever you want into it because it's being checked on to the bottom of the plane. You're never going to see it.
3 ounces.
Yeah. But if whatever, like, so like when I say I take all my toiletries, I have contact solution, I have toothpaste, deodorant, all that stuff is supposed to be under 3 ounces.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
So there you
made me
go.
throw away my toothpaste one time.
Yeah.
Brand new tube. I was pretty
if
sad.
honestly, if you go to Walmart, they have the little travel section. Just
Just get one.
get a few things from there.
Just a note about it, if you put anything in your checked luggage though, for, so you can't throw it in the bag, don't fill it all the way full, cause it will pressurize and explode.
See, that's also
Yeah.
why you're supposed to put it in a clear bag, so that can like zip. We'll re-say these things after a couple weeks, right? Maybe that was my like.
No, you're supposed to remember them right now. Yeah, we'll save them. Does anybody have Sydney's phone number? Okay. I mean, I do in my office, but okay. So the e-tickets are issued 3 weeks prior to departure. Once you get your e-ticket, that's when you can change your seats. If you need to change your seats for whatever reason. I don't know you or where you like to travel. Me, I'm a window guy. Love the window seat. I like to look out and make sure we're not falling to our death. That's just me.
I like the aisle.
Yeah, but see, lately I've been an aisle guy because you can stretch out a lot more. Yeah, it's true. It is true. Yes. In fact, they encourage you to get up and walk around.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They absolutely encourage you to get up and walk around. And the reason for that is because blood clots. You can get blood clots in your legs. Not a lot of people, but there's a possibility. For sitting for 8 hours and not moving, yeah.
Do they have
There's-
circulation things? Because when I had back surgery, they had to give me circulation things.
There's compression socks that you can buy. When I was pregnant, my legs would swell all the time, so I love compression socks, and now whenever I travel, I wear them.
Yeah.
And they're great.
I'm gonna just go with I'm young, and hopefully that won't happen.
Serena Williams had a blood clot.
Okay, never
from-
mind.
But she's like in her 40s now, right?
Hey,
No, she's not.
30s?
Yeah, she's in her 30s, but she
Well,
but she
still.
got it like 8 years ago. All I'm saying is it's a possibility. So there's a reason why whenever you go on long distances, traveling in a car or on a bus or in a plane or on a train, they suggest that you get up and move around at some point in time. Okay. No, and it's not. And it's nothing. It's nothing like you got to run a marathon or whatever. It's just get up, go to the bathroom, go sit back down, that kind of thing. You're gonna do what?
I said if I saw someone running around an airplane, I'd probably jump out the exit door. I'd be like, what's
Can you look at
going
the
on?
cockpit?
No, absolutely not. They would not like that at all.
Hey guys, look, you
Please don't look at. Yeah, please do not try to get into the cockpit,
Hey,
Keith.
I just want to see what they're doing.
Then don't mention bombs, even if you're joking. That's not something to joke. They really do. Okay. How many of you ever seen Meet the Parents? Okay. When Greg is on the plane, he's like bomb, 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 bomb. Why can't I say bomb on a plane? Okay. Yeah. Don't. It's not. Seriously. Don't. It's not cool.
Yeah,
Um,
probably not. Don't want to be questioned by security.
Double and triple and quadruple check that your name on this sheet is the exact name that you have on your passport.
Well, that doesn't have
I
my
don't know my
middle
middle
name.
name.
I mean, your first and last name. That's the most important.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, I have not changed my name since then. And I'm getting married
Before this trip.
Yeah. So when my wife got married to me, obviously, we had to get passports to go to our honeymoon. And she just kept her maiden name on there, on her passport, because it wasn't have changed over officially, because it's got to go through the court system and all that kind of stuff. And when she signed up for her passport, that was her name, right? So she had to travel under her maiden name instead of her married name at that point in time, which is kind of weird, right? But you have to get it so far in advance before you leave. So, any other questions about the flight itself? Like I said, it'll be roughly 8 hours ish from Chicago to Germany. That's where Munich is. And then from there we fly into Helsinki, and then we at 11:55 a.m. we get off the plane, we get our luggage, and we're going.
So we're coming
Okay.
back the 23rd instead of the 24th, right?
According to this, yes. Which is strange because that's not 10 days then.
You're welcome for pointing that out.
Claudia, I don't like what you're doing.
It's not her fault.
No, I know.
She has very little to do with the airline information.
I don't know if it makes a difference or anything, but like when we depart, it's over the 14th and the 15th, but like when we return, it's all on the 23rd.
Right, because of the time change.
Yeah, I don't know if that like affects anything, but.
I'll talk with her about that for sure, because it should be 10 days. Like, we should leave on the 14th and then get back on the 24th is what it should be. So I'm not sure what that's about. That'll be interesting. So that part might change, the return flight might change.
I would.
Thank you.
Going fishing on the-
I think on the itinerary, like, they count day one as just flying,
Right.
so, I mean,
But it's still, but from the 13th to the 20th, sorry, from the 14th to the 23rd is only 9 days.
sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, okay.
I don't care.
So, if you count it
But
out,
it's
it's
like the- it's 10,
14,
'cause
15,
14
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
It is 10
10 days,
total,
technically.
counting all of them.
Okay.
Oh. But they count us like getting
2
back.
days flying.
Yeah, like they count day
No.
one just as the flying.
No. Disagree.
I think it's right.
Okay.
I mean, 'cause I think they count that first day as.
It's really weird that we're leaving at 6:05 a.m. and getting back at 3:30 p.m.
On the same day? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they say don't sleep on the plane, because you still have a whole day left, basically. You know? But yet when we go out there, if you look, we leave at 10 a.m. and we get there at 11 a.m. The next day, though. So that's why they want you to sleep, because otherwise you will definitely be miserable. I promise you. I know that from experience. Is anybody here a cranky person when they don't get enough sleep? Okay, good to know. You giggle a lot?
Yeah, I
Make sure she doesn't sleep. Okay. So you have a MacBook or a Mac, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you can just plug in to this guy up here, right? All right. So Julie is going to talk to us about the marketplace in Stockholm. So this is in Sweden. So this will be all about Sweden. I'm sorry? No, you don't have to plug in.
Oh.
But you do need that. Yeah.
Oh. Does
Sweet, who's that?
That's my dad.
Nice. Nice drum set. So go up to that guy. Yep. And then this is 230.
And then I'm gonna shove it in my safe.
2:30.
He's always one of
And then your code should pop up here in just a second.
Okay.
There it is. And then after this, we'll try some candy.
Okay.
And, well, I'm gonna
I like your back.
It's just a little salt.
Thanks. Okay.
A little rock salt.
Okay, so my presentation is over the Gamla stan, which basically just translates into the Old Town. And it is located in Stockholm, Sweden. So it's basically like this whole area right here. And so it can, I looked up all these words, how to say them last night, so don't know if I'll do as well, but so it consists primarily of the Stadsholmen Island, but then like surrounding it are these three little places. So it's like Riddarholmen is right here, the Helgensholmen's right here,
I see it.
and then the Stromsborg is right there. And I'm pretty sure that the Vasa ship is like the museum is like over in this area over here. That you can't really see. And then this is kind of just like an overview, at like sunset of what it looks like. And I have a picture, like that same picture, and another slide that looks very colorful and pretty. So a little bit of history. It was basically like where Stockholm was founded in 1252, a long time ago. So although that it dates back to kind of the 13th century, a lot of the buildings and architecture weren't built until like the 17 or 1800s. And then, so Gamla stan was kind of referred to as like the city itself. A lot of the surrounding area was like very rural before people kind of came in and took over. And then kind of a fun fact is it's home of the narrowest alleyway in Stockholm, and it's called Martin Trotzig's Grand. It's about, its narrowest point is about 90 centimeters wide, which is very, very narrow.
That's not, that's like less than a foot.
Yeah,
That's
guess a lot of walking and,
like that. They actually call that an alleyway?
yeah.
There's no way.
Well, I mean,
It's like, I think, so there's like a walkway and then like up the stairs, I
That
think
thin?
is,
I can't remember.
oh no, that's what it says.
I'm just saying, like, that's amazing.
Very narrow.
If someone
Yeah.
can fit through that, that's,
Yeah, you just walk sideways? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Wait, can I write this down
cardboard.
really
Yeah,
fast?
go for it.
That's cool though, I mean,
Yeah,
we'll have to check that out.
if we
Stick
can
my arm
fit.
in it.
Okay, so the architecture, I thought it was kind of interesting, like the medieval alleyways, like the cobbled streets, very archaic architecture. This picture was, it was a lot of, like, whenever I Googled it, this was what came up a lot of the times. And I think that is the Stortorget Square. It's like the oldest square in Stockholm. It's also like the central point for one of the oldest streets in Stockholm, which was, I think it dates back to like the 14th century or something. And then the architecture, North German had a huge influence on like the construction of it and everything. It's so like it's so colorful, and especially that picture, it just looks so colorful. It said a lot of the buildings like had a lot of gold in it. I don't know if that's kind of like the medieval kind like aspect of it. I don't know, but I thought that was really cool. It'd be really pretty to see.
So you
in
can
the
see the
daylight.
very narrow gap between the red and the yellow building. I'm not sure if they have windows on that side, you know, where that little
Hopefully
gap is,
not.
but if they did, you'd be like, hey, give me a 5, and you give your neighbor a 5 from the window,
Yeah.
from the third story. What's really interesting about the picture on the right is that you don't see really anything that looks modern day, right? And that is because that's like the old town. They definitely have modern day skyscraper type buildings. Now, I don't think it's anything quite like New York City. How many of you have been to New York City? Okay, just a couple of you. How many of you have seen New York City in pictures? Okay, hopefully everybody. So yeah, so that's what I mean, it'll probably look a little more like downtown Omaha, the newer part of it. with the, are you gonna talk about this at all?
No.
Okay,
I
so,
don't think
so
so.
yeah, so they'll have a newer part as well, where they have modern day, skyscraper type buildings as well, okay?
So some attractions, they have several museums and churches in there. It's become to be very touristy, full of like souvenir shops, other shops, restaurants, cafes, bars, all that kind of stuff. And the largest attraction is actually the Royal Palace, which is that, and then the Royal Chapel. And so the Royal Palace is one of the world's largest buildings. It has over 600 rooms, I think, or one of the largest like royal places. I don't know. And I don't remember how often, but they have like soldier parades and then changing of the guards, which is really interesting. And that you obviously don't hear about that here because we don't have royal palaces. But I thought it's really weird that like the changing of the guards. It's just basically like a shift change almost. They just like have this huge ceremony just to change the guards. And in Gamla stan, there's the oldest restaurant in Stockholm, and it's called Den Glidin Friden. I think it translates to like the Golden Peace or something, but that opened in 1721. And then that church down there is the Riddarholmen Church. It was basically for like royal burials, and then it was built for the Franciscan monastery, the monks, were in like the 13th century. So I just thought that was really cool. They have a ton of like old chapels, which is gonna be beautiful, like absolutely. I couldn't find any pictures of the inside, but I'm sure that it's very beautiful.
Wait. So is that restaurant, the Den Glinden, is that in the Royal Palace, or is that just a?
I think it's just like in Gamla stan, and
Oh, okay.
I think
Great customer service. 300 years.
I have a link. So just some like fun little things. Okay, let's open it up. I have a little video, and I don't know if we'll get to see it.
Oh, well, I'll make sure we see it.
I don't know how to
In like
get it.
the Royal Palace and Chapel, I wonder if the reason why they don't have pictures of the inside is I know in some places they don't allow you to take pictures on the inside because like camera flashes can affect architecture.
That's correct. Not the architecture per se, but definitely this, yeah.
How do I get the video to show up?
Did you click on it?
Yeah.
Maybe
I
copy
can
and
see
paste
it.
onto
Yeah.
your.
Well, I can see it on mine.
Oh, okay, it's doing that thing,
Yeah.
alright. Yeah.
I mean, I can watch it if you guys.
No.
They can watch my reaction.
We'll do it this way.
You see it now.
Okay, so this is just a little video, like a little snippet of the changing of the guards. And before, you won't like, you'll get to like, you kind of see the horses, but before they do like kind of like a parade of the horses. And it's really cute because they're all like marching together and little hooves like sound really cute on the cobbled streets. But you didn't really get to see on the video, but it's not like a super entertaining video. Oh, you can't hear the music, but they have like a.
Yep, awesome, sorry, my bad.
I like the blue.
There you go.
I liked your reenaction of music.
Yeah, it's not like super entertaining, but it's like kind of interesting.
Do they fire the cannons?
I don't think so.
Oh, in Sweden, I thought they were supposed to have good technology.
I'm pretty sure they do this daily, so hopefully we'll get to like catch it. But if not, I just kind of show you what.
A lot of
And
people
how
there.
old is it gonna be, like 40s?
50s.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very windy. If you can't tell in the video.
Whoa, that one guy's short. Poor guy.
I bet he gets picked on a lot.
I bet he does too. Although he looks like he's like the corporal or whatever, the guy in charge. There go the horses.
Yeah, you can't hear their hooves, but they sounded really cute in one video.
We do have changing of the guards at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, but it's nothing like this.
No. That's correct. Oh, what's it out their bayonets? And this is inside the royal palace?
Yeah, I think yeah.
It's like a courtyard. One day
So
my
there's
house is
two
gonna have a
separate
courtyard.
uniforms, the bright blue ones and then these like really dark navy blue ones. Do you know what like?
I'm not sure, like, what,
The difference is?
yeah. Couldn't tell you.
This guy's playing the timpani on a horse. That is amazing.
It's like, I don't
Zoom out a
care.
little. There you go. Show the timpani guy. Here, this guy's got a stick. Big deal.
The tube is pretty.
I saw for a split second.
It might be the difference between like the army versus the navy, or
Like
the
different
Queen's
standings.
Royal Guard or the King's Royal Guard versus the regular army. See, look, playing the timpani on a horse.
That poor horse though, some of these are heavy.
Probably totally deaf. All right, you can keep watching this if you want, or
Yeah,
okay.
it doesn't, I don't know what it, but there's just like a section of people kind of just like walk up and they're like, hello, go on to your shift now. And then I have a link, so
Pretty nice amp. Box.
I mean, they do that at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier though too, and they do like a little read every day too at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
so this, I thought it was really interesting.
That
Let's see
looks
if I can,
fancy.
It looks amazing.
Let's
yeah.
go.
Totally need to eat there.
But
1722.
yeah, I just like opened it just to see, and we obviously like cannot tell what anything says. But I was looking at it with Abby, and we're pretty sure that this is like the menu portion. But you can see like it has like the jelly, like the meatballs, and then
Does it say prices anywhere?
Yeah.
Can we just not read it?
whatever
Krona.
that is.
150
Yeah.
krona.
krona.
Is that
Yeah.
expensive?
But like you can, it's kind of like what we were like talking about, like the a lot of soup, potato and soup, and then here's the
But
Potato
oh the
dumpling.
yeah the
Bongo.
yeah the pea
They have
soup
the
and then the
Thursday pea soup.
pancakes with the jam. Yeah, I just thought that was really
Casserole.
interesting.
Oh, that's that fish casserole we saw.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that looks so bad. Pot roast.
That one probably is better.
And
I'm sure
then
it is for 175 krona.
this might be like the dinner or it's,
What?
oh these are the
175
sides. Yeah.
krona? But how much is that?
That's
Norwegian king crab. It's
Here,
gotta
I
be
got you.
good.
I got you.
I think this might be like appetizers or something.
495 krona in American
Oh,
dollars.
so 150 krona is
$52.65.
For the crab, that's not
for the
bad.
crab.
No, that's $495. The one at the top, whatever that was.
Yeah.
The crab, the Norwegian.
Yep,
This
and it's
one?
$52.65.
That's not bad.
That's not bad for
crab.
Norwegian king crab and onions and buttered toast with mayonnaise.
Good.
At
Mayonnaise is
at
good.
the oldest restaurant
Yeah.
in
There's a
Stonehenge.
picture on this. I don't know what that says, but like that looks okay.
But that means the rest of that is not bad, like 245 is obviously not gonna be bad.
Yeah, it's like $20.
Well,
Okay,
it's
let's
not
go.
showing.
Okay, let's go.
It's decided, we're going.
I don't know why it's
Yeah,
taking.
do it.
Oh, here we go. See, like that looks absolutely beautiful.
Can we have the
Yeah.
back?
We'll take that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have this table.
I don't know if that's like a private.
Like, "Oh, this-
It might be like a private area. I don't know if because there's a lot. It's a big
Up to
table.
16 people.
So
So what you can do is take that paragraph of information and put it into Google Translate.
Isn't there like a screen thing on it?
It says,
Yes, you can if you've got Google. If you've got
I
the
got it,
Google.
I think one was like room enough for 16 people.
Google Trans. Oh, wait, I'll shut it down.
Similar in all to English.
well, I'm gonna
And then
copy
you
and
go
paste
to
it.
your-
Camera.
Yeah, go to your camera.
That's not up there anymore.
Well, she'll put it back.
Oh, do you want to do it?
Camera.
We have that translator thing.
Yeah, we've got the translator thing. She's
Well-
gonna align the text, so go back. She's gonna read it to us.
Okay, just do it on here because it's taking forever.
Sorry, sorry.
What? Subtilis. Well, because I have it
you're
set on
doing English to Spanish.
What happened?
No, that's okay. I had it. So this is Swedish, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I was like subtilis. Okay.
Okay, now it's on the big screen. I don't know if it'll make it a
It
difference.
should make
on
it easier if it's on the.
Swedish camera.
It's being difficult.
Let me use your computer.
Up to 16 persons. That's more than what we've got, so we know the room will fit us.
See?
What's going on?
Told you guys 16
Just like-
people.
Camera.
Persona,
Let me like all my brightness.
mem information,
Roommate, I'm assuming that's room
contact,
or up to.
Yeah, I might just copy and paste it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Weird.
Yeah.
Swedish into English. Downstairs. Oh, can you? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of.
Oh,
So yeah, it's a room downstairs. Yeah. What? Oh, on the menu? Well, what do you want me to translate?
Contact us. Julie, you should contact them.
I probably won't.
So there's, this is lunch. See, it says lunch
Yeah.
at the top.
And all of them have the American translation.
And all of them have the American translation stuff.
Asparagus, potato, and leek soup.
This one? Let's find
Oh,
out.
it says created in 1722. We serve, something like oldest in Sweden. Stockholm.
Home cooking.
Seasonal ingredients in a traditional way.
Yeah.
Cherries flavor.
Very cute little place. So if we get a chance, like free time, we should definitely check it out because I feel like that would be really cute. And request a 16-person room. We'll make some friends.
Just
get
an
up to
FYI,
16.
eating in restaurants in other countries is very different than it is here in America. In America, you are very much like, give it to me now, where is it? Come on. The last sentence that it has there, we take time to both cook and eat the meal. Everything is much, much slower. So you have to remember that as we are over there. They will not necessarily bring your check unless you ask for it, because they want you to take time and enjoy time. And even if you ask for it, you'll probably have to remind them a couple more times.
And then be like, are you sure?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, no dessert or whatever. I mean, yeah, you'll get some interesting looks sometimes, depending on how fast you need to eat. But usually at dinner time, or when I say dinner, I mean supper. That's a much more free time for us anyway, so you don't necessarily have to worry about going very fast then. Okay, but during the day, yeah, will usually be kind
Do
of.
they do like cook to order? Like whenever you order something, they'll bring your plate out like as it's finished, or do they wait for everyone?
That depends on the restaurant. That really depends on the restaurant. When I was in France, they waited for everybody. You know, basically you were all served at the same time.
Well, and I wonder if they have it perfected at this point where they know at what time to start
Right.
each thing, that it does all kind of like end at the same
Sure.
time, so everyone's food is.
I'm sure, yeah, yeah. Can you go back to the dinner menu for us, the
Yeah.
supper menu, when you get back on? Don't know why it keeps dropping for you.
Whoa, like zoomed in. Why is it so new? Okay, the dinner menu. I believe is that.
Yeah. Pull it up.
There's the king fries.
Oh, no, these are the starters.
Greasy.
Oysters.
Why does it say?
Wait, I think it's on this. Hold on.
Lunch.
Lunch.
Children's lunch.
Starters.
But see, it says starters, so that's, oh, okay, go back. There you go, go back to the Mastenland, Frontal, yeah, 1700, yeah, that one. So those are the starters,
Times the 5.
so go down to the
That's
classics.
good.
Is
There
this
you go.
the? So is this dinner?
Fried Baltic herring,
Great cod, bacon, cabbage, egg.
Yeah.
Salmon.
Yeah, the
Which one?
salmon doesn't
the
sound bad.
meatballs,
Yeah.
pickled cucumbers.
I think that's what they
Lingonberries.
showed on the picture, like the meatballs and the
It's
pickled
like I've heard of all
cucumber.
this before.
sure it is.
Well, I wonder what scree cod is, as opposed to just regular cod. I'm assuming it's just the type of cod. Oh, cabbage pie.
My practicum thing sounds good. Finnish or Swedish heritage
Ooh,
and
sorry.
make like the Swedish.
On the cart.
Oh, do they? Oh, that's cool.
Ooh,
Fish.
Has poultry.
on the bone.
Oh, no.
Wait, what's
Poultry.
dessert? I'm kind of interested in what.
Hold on. Wait, what was that?
Duck.
I want to know what this. Oh, it's duck.
Ooh.
On the
925.
orange.
What?
That's
There's 1250
expensive.
beef Wellington.
Oh,
Truffle
God.
gravy and parsley.
You know, I'll probably guess the cheaper.
Because what's
The starters.
1250 kroner?
Share
I
a
bet
plate
you that's
with
like
someone.
105 bucks.
Yeah, because 500 was.
There's vegetarian options.
Lame. Let's go to desserts.
Okay, dessert.
Take it easy.
Can I
That's what it
pay
says.
for two
It was $133.
with condiments?
Oh.
Someone want to share a cake with me while we're there?
Yes.
Yes.
Cake for two. Oh, that's cute.
We're gonna need a cake for 10, please.
Creme caramel. What is that?
What caramel?
Creme.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Rose hip
Oh,
soup.
it's-
Not
it's
sure what that
cream
is.
means caramel.
Almond cake.
Almond cake.
Yeah.
Mud cake with whipped cream. That sounds pretty nice.
Oh, sweet.
Sweets.
There's
You can just
sweet.
get some sweets.
Okay.
An assortment of
For
sweets.
40.
Okay,
Something
all
like
of this sounds very good.
$4.26.
Yeah, $4.26. So it's 10 to 1.
Yeah.
It's 10 krona equal $1.
So yeah, $1 is equal to 9.39.
Yeah.
Yep. And then in Finland, it's 0.
They always
Right,
have
because in
a
Finland they
separate
use
place
the
to have
euro.
one about the
Yeah.
dessert.
That's like,
Not quite as good.
Dags van Jan Inkdeminger?
Oh.
I think it's for jobs.
It does say Joba.
Oh yeah. If you want to
Jobs.
apply,
I'm gonna guess jobs.
a little summer job for 10 days.
Moving to Stockholm. Peace out, guys.
And then I don't know what this one is. Oh.
That's exactly.
Oh, it's the location. Cool. Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 2200. Lorda, which I'm assuming is Saturday, 1300 to 2200, and then Sunday they are stankt, which means closed down.
Yeah.
Sundag.
And then that is it. I just
Well,
have
now I
my
want to go. Like, it's not even an option.
I know, it's like we have to go because it was on our thing and now we'll know all about it. And we're like, oh, lingonberries, yeah, let's have some of those.
Sweet pea soup. I want it on Wednesday.
No, it's only on Thursdays.
Just go in there and cause a scene.
Yeah, you will. Oh, I want it today.
You're like, "Can I have a picture?"
And they'll be like, crazy about it.
Get out of here. That's what my best friends.
All right, thank you very much. Now, before we go any further, we have to try this salted black licorice.
Oh, I'm scared.
Okay? Yeah, it's gonna be scary, and we're all gonna do it because we have to have these experiences together so that we can start making fun of each other more often. I mean bonding. I mean bonding.
So,
What did you say that was embarrassing?
I said, what do balls taste like?
Well, you brought it back up again, so I don't know why you would have. I had totally forgotten because I had slept since then. But all right, go ahead, Sarah.
I ordered these from Amazon and they got here a month earlier than what they were supposed to get. But fun fact, they did come from Finland.
Sweet.
I know, it was so cool.
Are
They
there?
are,
Because here,
I
you
think
talk.
there are, oh,
Have you already tried one?
I did, I tried one.
What? We didn't get to see your initial reaction.
Was it good or bad?
No.
You should have seen Leland's, it was the best.
Did you try it?
Yes, he did.
Do you like
Because
it?
mommy had candy, so. These are black. That one was
I'll
black,
call that
trust
one.
me. So black and round if everybody wants to take one of these.
Wait, are they all different?
They are 3 different flavors, I think.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
So,
Well, no, wait, don't put it, we'll all put it in our mouth at the same time, and we'll all stand up here around the trash can in case, I don't want anybody to puke.
so
Oh, I don't want to puke the same time someone else is
I was just
puking.
smelling it.
welcome to my world.
Is that like, it's like very hard.
Yeah, it's like a hard.
She took 2.
Oh no.
So yeah, there's 3 different
Yeah,
flavors.
it
it
doesn't, it
looks
doesn't
like.
have a smell.
Well, thank you, Sarah.
Smells like
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Like
It's
a black
definitely a black
licorice.
licorice.
Yep.
I don't smell
It's definitely a black licorice.
All right.
I don't smell a thing.
Oh, Eric took 2.
You might need
Oh,
more
yeah.
You might need more than one to get the real flavor.
So doing black first.
All right,
Ready?
ready, set, go.
It's hard.
Oh, yeah, it sticks to your teeth.
Oh,
Yeah, that's black licorice.
oh God. Oh,
Thank you so much, Sarah.
oh.
No,
Yum.
wait, that tastes like medicine.
It's like straight popcorn.
It's so salty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was tasty.
Is that a cough drop?
Mm-hmm.
See, the cool thing is Brandon gets to experience this all on his own, and we all just get to watch him.
Oh, now it's kind of chewy.
Yeah,
It's kind of chewy.
it's definitely a different flavor.
Tastes like fish.
See?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it tastes like
Now
cough
she's
drop.
got 2 other kinds.
Really, really,
Still
really
chewing.
strong cough
Yes.
drop.
This is
Okay,
not
so the
going
next
away.
one is lighter in color.
Oh,
I just
hopefully
found one
lighter in
away.
flavor.
I can't swallow it.
Why?
Just like a
Oh,
pill,
yeah.
just like a pill, just go for it.
This one's got to be better because it's got a bird on it and it says pox, which means peace. So,
It looks better. It looks more promising
It has an F on it.
for Finland.
I was just really surprised when I got the packaging and it did have
here you go.
Finland.
It's
I got
for-
one.
Oh, it's for Fraser.
This one.
Fraser is the company who made it.
This one doesn't smell spicy, so it's okay.
Smells like.
Oh, man.
Those
Are
are
we
really
going?
spicy.
This is still black
This
licorice.
one smells
It's
better.
like
I can
mint.
smell it.
It's like I like black licorice.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the other
it's
one,
like
the other one
minty.
did have a
It's
weird
like a
mint
menthol.
flavor. Yeah,
It's
like
got a
menthol.
a
There it
menthol.
is.
It's like a cough drop.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not scared on this one.
I am.
All right, ready? Go. Oh I didn't even do that on purpose.
Yeah, that one's not as bad as the
It
first
kind
one.
of tastes like
It's just
licorice.
straight
I like that one.
This one's not bad.
Yeah, this one's
not bad. A little bit spicier black
I can
licorice.
handle this one.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I need to.
Tea's like,
What is
no.
this one? I don't like
No, I don't feel like I need to split this one out. This almost has a root beer flavor.
It does. Oh,
Yeah.
it kind of gets spicier than green.
That's,
Okay, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
okay, now it doesn't.
I'm done now. That's weird.
Like a really intense root beer flavor.
Yeah. You're gonna do what?
The texture is what I don't like.
Oh.
So the last one also has a P on it, but it's got a panther on it.
Oh.
But it's solid black.
Yeah, how do
I
they-
like
fried
this
do
one
they
better
just-
than the
Is
last
this
one.
like gum? Do they just chew on it and then spit it out?
Or they just suck on it.
Yeah,
Well,
am I
okay.
doing this wrong?
No. So Swedish fish, you know those red little fish or
Yeah, I
whatever?
hate those.
Okay, same kind of thing. It's a very, very chewy, gummy substance. So this just must be what they
Yeah, there's a P on this.
do.
One of the
I would have to
ingredients
eat that
is
one.
thickener.
I'd buy that.
This one scares me.
It looks really scary. It's straight up black.
Did you already get one?
Mm-hmm.
You can- I'll try not to. Did you save the best for last? No, you gotta have this one.
We got to?
Yes.
Stuck in my teeth.
So we all have the same experience that we can share and talk about. Oh my gosh, remember that time Dr. Bob made us try this licorice? All of us, we forced this.
Whatever that second
Against the
one
will.
was.
It's clearing out my nose.
Yeah, it is. It is.
the
Clear.
second one.
really like that one.
Yeah, that
Mine
one
was
wasn't bad.
So
I've
I
actually able to
actually
not sit
only
on one.
tried this one. This is the only one that I had open before break.
Okay.
So,
The second one is
All right.
definitely the best.
Okay, are we doing
Okay,
third?
go.
why don't we eat
Oh.
this
Wait, we're going? I was
Already
scared.
went.
Oh.
The second
because I
one's
can't buy it on
definitely
Prime.
No, thank you.
No, I'm really gross.
Oh,
the best.
You did save the best for last.
I'm gonna go grab the book.
What was that one?
Yeah,
I wish it told us.
I have gummy worms, if anyone wants.
Ugh.
Maybe we did those in the wrong order.
Can I have a gummy worm?
You should have started with the
I
black
think
ones
those are
first.
from. I'm not worried about this.
Do you need a chaser?
Oh,
I
yes,
took
please.
one bite and it.
Which one? That was the Slimanaki Naki?
Yes.
The PAX was the best one.
Oh no, we had the Panthera
That
one
was the
last.
last one.
This is the last one.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Which tastes like?
Oh,
Sweet cherry-ish?
Oh, they're not gross.
No, no.
It's like
It's-
real sweet.
The PAX ones, yes. Can I have one of those, please?
Do you want to grab one yourself?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Because then I can pick this cool red and blue one here.
Oh, that's the best
I know. There's another one in there. I'm not taking your last one. Maybe.
When we try anything new, just have gummy
See,
worms.
there, it's right there.
Where's the gummy worms?
Right there. Woo! Brandon, you missed out, man. That was awesome experience.
Oh, well, I'm proud. I finished one.
You can all say you've had food from Finland now,
Yeah.
right?
now I know what you're
Maybe you had been blocked already.
Shut up, Joey.
Not as bad as I thought.
I don't know. The last one's pretty much kind of what I thought it was going to be. I'm like, salted black licorice? Why?
The cinnamon one is the best.
Yeah, I like the peace one.
Or whatever.
So, cool. New experiences, love it. All right, Keegan is gonna take it away for us for now. So listen up. She's gonna have us do some stuff. I gotta get up.
Are these your boards?
Nope. Got 'em from back.
Yes. Hey, thanks for that experience.
Yeah. Okay, so on your boards, on one side you need to have either a disagree, no, heartbreak.
Oh, we all have dislikes.
Yeah. Or on the other side you can do agree, yes, smiley face, whatever you'd like to do. Either way, yes or no. Okay, and then y'all are gonna want to probably turn to your chapter 4, starts on page 139.
Flavor in my mouth.
Okay, and I just want to start with the very first thing that it says at the top. It says, real winners do not compete. Agree or disagree with that statement?
Which page is that?
139, and it's the first, like, quote. Agree or disagree. Real winners do not compete.
Depends on how in-depth, like, what kind of context you take it in, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, write that on your board and hold it up.
Oh. I don't remember you answering the question.
It's not following you.
It's okay, wait. Come here.
There you go.
Come here. Come here. Oh, okay. We were doing that earlier and it worked for us. So.
That's funny.
Okay, so, you agreed with me, so why do you agree?
I took it more as like not athletic or anything, but like the people who want to see everyone succeed don't really compete. They level the playing field for everyone so they can all reach success in a different way and not compete for it and be like, well, I'm better than you because I'm smarter. So kind of how the education system's set up now, it sets it up for like everyone to learn kind of one thing. But everyone kind of has their own talent. So like I take this as an education. It's more about like the people who care and want to win will take the steps to differentiate everything for everyone to win and not compete for the same title.
I would say that's kind of the way I saw it is, like, I took it as, especially since it's in the book, I took it with what we've been learning about Finland so far is, They didn't go out to be number one in the world, but they became that from their hard work and how they've done things with their educational system. And so real winners do not compete. They just get to be the best because they put in the work, and that's how they win. So, Sarah, why did you disagree?
Because I think that competition it can be healthy, even when it's just competing against your own best time to do something or your own standards.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
That's what
I
you were
mean,
gonna
I'm gonna compete with myself all the time, right? To make sure that either I'm the best in the room, or if I'm not, how can I be the best in the room? You know, and so I would maybe modify that to say real winners do not compete with others, or real winners compete with themselves. You know, it's more of an intrinsic thing as opposed to an extrinsic type of motivation.
All right. So just to kind of open up our debate into chapter 4. So that's what we've got to think about. Okay. So the power of globalization. When we were reading this section, there were a couple of different things that kind of stuck out to me, and it was so like the paradox. So second paragraph on page 140 under the power of globalization. Globalization is a cultural paradox. It simultaneously unifies and diverses people and cultures. It unifies national education policies by integrating them with broader global trends because problems and challenges are similar from one education system to the next. Solutions and education reform agendas are also becoming similar. Agree or disagree with that? Keely, what did you agree?
Oh, I was still deciding.
Oh, still deciding? Still deciding? Eric, why did you agree?
I think it's this
I agree because I mean, a lot of the challenges that we experience are kind of challenges all throughout the world.
Okay.
I agree just because, kind of what Eric said, but like how people are going about, how countries go about different challenges are what changes.
And I kind of missed what Eric said, but I feel like that it definitely unifies us because, like, oh, look at that culture over there. They're different than us. Let's go see how we're in common or how we're different. But then when we get there, it's like, oh, we're different than them. And I think that sometimes people are afraid of things that are different because they are different and they don't understand it necessarily. So, yeah, I would totally agree with just that sentence. It simultaneously unifies us and then diversifies us. The rest of it, I mean, it's focusing on the education system as a whole, but I mean, if you take that context as with anything with life, I definitely feel that is a true statement, but that's just my opinion. I want to hear what Sammy has to say.
I might have took this wrong, but I put dislike simply because of the sentence where I read, the one where it says solutions and education reform agendas are also becoming similar. I don't feel like they're similar, just because I feel like in the education system, just here in America, a lot of people are clashing with ideas and not agreeing with everything. So I feel like with different countries, that the education agenda is not the same at all. And especially with, America saying they want to have the best education system, but they don't. And I don't feel like we take the time to learn from other education systems and looking at their other agendas, because like you said, it is scary to look at another school and try to change that and follow them when we're so used to what we're doing now. That's why I disagree, just because I don't think anyone's willing to change when they're so used to what we're already doing.
Well, I think
Did
a lot of
I
that.
follow that wrong or no?
No.
I agree with that. I like what you're saying. There's like points though, like where a lot of people, like a lot of the people making the laws are like lawyers and not education majors, and so I think that's part of where our problem lies too. Why we have such a diverse like expectation of what we need to teach, because lawyers not like trained in childhood development and all that. So they're trained in law, which is good, but at the same time, it's like maybe take advice from long-term teachers as well.
A thing that I liked when you mentioned change is when people hear change, they usually think this is going to be expensive. And that's a huge thing with like our educational system is we don't like to do reform. We don't like to change because it's like, well, what's this going to cost us?
Yeah.
When I hear that sentence, I think, people that are up in the education system are thinking, what is this going to cost us in money? I'm sitting here going, if we keep on the road we're going, what is this going to cost us in our educational sense? So, okay, then on the next page, 141, towards the bottom, it says, so it's on the third paragraph, it's the second sentences, it starts with indeed. Indeed, rather than shifting emphasis towards standardized knowledge of content and mastery of routine skills, some advanced education systems are focusing on flexibility, risk-taking, creativity, and problem-solving through modern methods of teaching combined with community networks and smart technologies. Do you guys agree or disagree that that's the way to go? So the part that I'm focusing on that one is mastery of, flexibility, risk-taking, creativity, and problem-solving.
Smiley face.
Smiley face. So,
What kind of like stuck with me instead, like what you were saying, but kind of like the standardization, like all the standardized tests that we have, like not every student is good at taking tests. So I don't think that that's necessarily like a good way to judge if a student is smart or not smart. But I do think like the problem solving, like all like using other resources to kind of see like their intelligence in other ways, not necessarily like standardized tests. I don't think that's a great way of like doing that.
And like I feel like those newer like aspects they're adding in, like that's real life. Like I mean standardized tests might measure like that small aspect of what they know, but it's not really giving them any like real life skills. So I think like it benefits their like society in the long term too, because they have more life skills that are actually gonna be used for everybody.
Stick with them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Especially when we talk about math, you can pick me up, it's fine. Especially when we talk about math, okay? We talk about, and we've talked about this in here before, where students take trigonometry. Why don't we have students learn how to keep a budget? And test over that, and keep.
How to build credit score, because I still don't know how to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the
Seriously.
things in life that are truly going to affect you. If you need to learn trigonometry, great. Let's learn trigonometry when we need to learn it, right? When we know we need to have it for our future life.
Yeah.
But, when you're in high school, freshman, sophomore year of high school, I mean, we should be learning things about, okay, so. Yep, exactly, that kind of stuff. How to take loans out for college, how to, like I said, how to successfully budget, how to what?
Balance your checkbook.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many checks are offered, or how,
I still write checks.
no, that's good, but you're absolutely right. Resumes and cover letters should absolutely be something that we focus on.
knowing the differences in loans.
Yep, the different kinds of loans, absolutely, yeah. Because, I mean, there are multiple different kinds of loans out there. The Stafford loan and
What's the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized?
one you start paying for the interest rate right away, and the other one you can wait until you start paying on it for the interest rate to kick in.
That's the subsidized.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. I see what you did there. Interesting.
So is there any more comments about this section? Or now does anyone have anything to say that they caught on these 2 pages before we move on? Anything else that stood out to them that we need to discuss?
I read this so long ago.
Sure,
No, I did.
I thought it was interesting how they said that contemporary knowledge is communicated through basically 2 academic journals. The Journal of School Effectiveness and School Improvement and the Journal of Educational Change. And as a future teacher, I mean, that's something that I'm not going to go out and subscribe to do right today, but it's something that I definitely
Keep your eye out for.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, and I think your administrator should be looking at that too, for sure.
Mhm.
You know, because we are. My thing with this chapter about changes and changing things and making changes in the school system and all that kind of stuff. In America, we have this major problem with we're going to change. Let's see it now. I want to see change now, instantly, right this second. And when we talk about educational change and educational reform, it's going to take years. I mean, Finland is still figuring it out, and they've been working on it for 30 years now. Okay, so it's not something that's going to happen overnight, and I think that is one major key major key point that needs to be addressed when you talk to anybody about educational reform or educational change.
Well, like
It's
you
gonna
said
take time.
earlier about just like food, Americans like once we want something,
Yeah.
we want it now, and we're impatient. We don't want to wait for it, and so I think that goes with really anything, not just education. If we want to change something, if it doesn't change right away, we're like, oh, it's not working because
Exactly.
we spent a week on it and nothing's changed, so they give it up right away.
But I think, like, on the other side of that, like, we're also scared of change. Like, we're also
Yeah,
scared
absolutely.
to, like, make that, like, to go out and, like, actually do it because we don't know what the outcome is. So I think on the other side, like, we want it now, but we're also scared of, like, what could happen. Like, this could all go wrong, so we're not going to try it.
Just like what happened earlier when we were trying all these black licorice flavors, right?
That was
It's-
terrifying.
Yeah, it
So
was.
scary.
I know some of you were truly scared, and I mean myself included in that. I'm like, I know I don't like black licorice, but I'll try it because I'll try most things once. There are some things I refuse to
It's
try.
still alive.
So there's this thing that I've seen on the internet where it's this octopus that's supposedly cooked and
Yes.
fully dead,
Oh,
but then
put
you pour
salt
the
on it?
salt on it or whatever,
So
and
you
it
gotta
wiggles like it and like it's still alive.
It's
No
That's
way.
If it's freshly killed, any meat, if you put salt on it after it's freshly killed, it'll still move.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not
not
alive,
gonna do
though.
it. Have
It's
you
just
seen
like a
this?
reaction
No,
to
yeah.
the sodium.
I need
I
my
will
food
not
to
do
not
that.
move.
Just
Like,
Yeah.
constantly.
Yes, it is really dead.
You like
But it
it?
doesn't look like it because
So good.
I love calamari. Do you love calamari?
no, I do not.
Okay, well then, see, that's why you would try it.
I don't like the ones
I
that
love
look like the
calamari.
octopus.
Oh, I
like
do.
the
Those are the
circle
best.
ones.
I
No,
might-
I'm like, oh my
I-
god.
Depends
I
on if
can-
it's
I
fried.
can
Little
kind
baby
of
ones are the
do
best.
fried calamari,
is
but it's
okay.
Mhm.
it's
See, I
still
don't
really
ever eat the,
chewy.
like,
With the
like,
garlic
texture
ale.
of an
Yeah.
octopus. I'd eat just the tentacles, but if I got to like the main part of it, I'd be like, no, it still has a head, and no,
Yeah.
we're just
The
gonna
baby
keep
ones
that
are the
right
best.
there.
They're just so good.
Sorry, I
They're like
didn't
little
really mean to
crunchy,
get
like,
us off there, but that I mean
like it.
it's that same kind of concept though. I mean we
Yeah.
even just trying food, we as Americans are like I don't know, I don't need to eat that, so I'm not going to,
Yeah.
right?
I know what
Whereas-
I like.
We're wasteful. Too.
Yeah, whereas people in other countries would buy that box, and even if they don't like it, they're going to eat it all because they bought it and they use their hard-earned money to purchase it, even if they don't like it. Just kind of an interesting viewpoint.
Well, and we're one of like the only countries that like cut the heads off of a lot of things. Like most countries keep the heads on and eat it, and I
They
don't
do.
know, that just really bothers me. Like seeing the head
Well,
of the animal that I'm eating. And
But if you were raised in Finland or Sweden, you'd
it's
be fine with it,
normal.
right?
Yeah.
But I feel like people, like even when we came to America and were killing buffalo, they were just killing them not for the whole animal. So I feel like it's kind of been.
Well, that was more just white men, like just people. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It was, hey, let's go on an adventure and go kill
Well, I
buffalo.
feel like you guys started off like wasteful, and I mean we're still really wasteful. We don't like cherish
Oh, man.
our stuff. Like,
Well, yeah.
I worked in a restaurant.
so,
the waste.
When we talk about
every day.
education, I think the
I
last
know.
two,
I was like, no, I can't do
I think the last two sentences on that page 141, are very interesting because it talks about other countries doing other things like Japan and Singapore. This is a huge movement in Japan, actually. The idea of doing less is more, and they're really focusing on being creative. Because what they had done for years is they're like, you're going to school from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. You're doing it 6 days a week. You only get Sundays off. I mean, they were pounding school into these kids, and the kids, sure, they were getting great math scores and things like that, but when it came to self-confidence and creativity, they had next to none compared to the rest of the world, and especially compared to Americans. and they see the American school district, and they're like, school system, sorry, and they're like, we want our kids to be more confident and more creative. And so they've really started to push this idea of, all right, we're going to go to school less, and in place of that, we're going to have our students become more creative and more innovative. And then same thing with Canada and Alberta. They're basically removing the standardized tests, right? So that's kind of cool because the rest of the Canadian provinces aren't doing that. It's similar to Nebraska, where we haven't adopted the Common Core standards. We still do have standards, and we still do have a standardized test where we give them that we give our students at the end. But ultimately, they are like, no, we're not going to do what everyone else is doing. It's not good for our students. So I think that's really interesting that other countries are realizing, hey, things have got to change.
Okay, so moving on to 142. The second paragraph on that page in the middle of it sort of says, instead of focusing on single institutions, education reforms are beginning to encourage networking of schools and communities, which I agree with. Anybody else?
Oh.
So, I mean, I think that the fact that schools are trying to work together and they're trying to work with districts, and it's not like pitting schools against each other, that's what we need to do. I feel like when we try and, put this school compared to this school, score-wise, we're not looking at the deeper issues. And so I think if we go from this school versus this school compared to this school and this school, it's going to completely change people's mindset. Just from something simple like that. And it can change schools in general. So
I definitely think we could still grow more in involving our community and other students and districts.
I completely agree.
I think we're definitely getting there. But I definitely think this is one of the bigger things that we can be a little bit more better at.
Anybody else want to add to that?
Agreed.
Hear you.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
sure.
that this idea, this is important for you to know, the idea, and it's the next sentence, at the core of this idea is complementarity. Complementarity. That is the cooperation between schools and districts and striving for better learning in the network. So it's basically what they're doing is what this is saying is school districts are going out to other school districts and saying, hey, what are you doing in your school? Because you guys have really high math scores and we have lower math scores. What are you doing with your students? But I do hate the idea of publishing our scores and comparing our schools. I hate the fact that we do that in the state, in the nation. I think that's ridiculous. We have different students in the state of Nebraska compared to Alabama, compared to Alaska, compared to California. We do. We have a different lifestyle and a different type of student. And so comparing our score, it truly is comparing apples to oranges. And you probably hear that a lot when we talk about this kind of thing, but sorry, continue. Soapbox.
I think
Don't.
that kind of goes back to the competitive thing. People are too competitive, so I think it would be hard to work with. Some people would have a hard time with working with others because they're too competitive. They're like, oh yeah, you're doing this, we're gonna do this that is even better.
I agree with
I feel
that.
like that's competitive for the wrong reasons. It's
Yeah.
not
Right.
necessarily being competitive is a bad thing, but for the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Right.
Right, yeah,
To
I
say
agree.
you're better than someone, and I think that's a lot of well, not a lot, but some people have that mentality. I want to be better than you, but it's you should strive to be better than you were yesterday, not better than
Because
some other person.
So what you're
Don't
saying is
care at
instead of
all.
saying I'm going to be better than you, saying I'm going to be better than what I am right now.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly.
There's
And,
kids that don't care at all,
self-competition.
and they don't have that competitiveness inside themselves to be better for themselves. They just don't care.
It's true, and you're exactly right. That goes right into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have students who are coming to us in our classrooms who haven't eaten since lunch the day previous. And so since they haven't eaten lunch since the day previous, or breakfast or dinner, when they come to your 8 o'clock math class and you expect them to learn math, they're going to give you a big F you because they don't care. They're so worried about how hungry they are and they don't feel good and their stomach hurts or their headaches or whatever because they're, for lack of a better term, starving themselves. Okay? So that whole idea of self-actualization at the top of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's when we start to look at ourselves and say, hey, I need to improve on myself from yesterday. And trying to get students to understand that when they're hungry, when they're tired because they're sleeping on the floor instead of a bed, or I've had students who have slept on exercise machine, like the treadmills instead of, because it's a little bit softer than the floor because it's kind of got a spring in it.
It goes back to like the social emotional learning
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if they're just scared too, it's hard to get them to learn if they're scared.
Yep. Which then that goes into, some of our immigrants. Some of our immigrant students are terrified right now
Yeah.
of what's going to happen to them, where they're going to be tomorrow, that kind of
Their
stuff.
parents.
So they're not worried about math or science or English or social studies. So trying to get them interested in that is a big deal too, right? And so all of this comes back to what is on page 143. Okay? The second paragraph of page 143, when we talk about this germ, this disease that's going through American schools and a lot of schools, which is the global educational reform movement, that's the germ that he talks about. Second paragraph, it says, tellingly, germ is promoted through the strategies and interests of multinational private corporations, supranational developing agencies, international donors, private foundations, consulting firms through their interventions into national education reforms and policy-making processes around the world. What does that all deal with? Money. That's
Money
all
makes the
about
world go
money.
round.
It does make the world go round, but
Unfortunately.
it also is the problem. We've got these multinational private corporations who are giving millions of dollars to the U.S. school system or whatever, and because of that, they want to see results. They demand results, and same thing for this development agencies and these private donors. They want to see results because they're giving so much money to these things. And this goes back to everything we've said already in here. They want it to happen quickly. They want it to happen as soon as possible. And the problem is that they throw money at it, but they don't necessarily give training for it.
Here's a smart board. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dang, Pearson. Anyways.
Hi guys. Okay, so we're just about almost out of time. So, as long as it's okay with you, for next time, if each of us take 3 pages, take the main points out of those 3 pages, we can report back, go over the main topics of that, and then we're finished with chapter 4 that way. So, so starting on page 144, since we kind of covered 143, it goes until 172. Whoever gets the last one is going to be a lucky duck. That's 28 pages. Double check my math. Yep. There's 8 of us. So I should be 7 though. So that's so 4 pages apiece. So, who wants to take?
I wouldn't do it that way. I would just say,
Just
Sammy,
say?
you're taking these pages,
Okay.
so on and so forth.
So, you've got 144 to 147.
Okay.
148 to 151.
Okay.
Abby, you got 152 to 155. I'll take 156 to 159. Sarah, you've got 160 to 163. Eric, you've got 164 to 167. Keely, you've got 168. You've got to 171. Can you get this last paragraph on the next page? Okay, so you've got to 172 then.
I wrote down your pages,
Huh?
156 to 159.
That was mine?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want me to take this paragraph? Sarah?
Paragraph.
163 to 164. I can do it.
So everybody's got their pages? Okay. I will try and write down what I remember, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me or use the group
You
me
should
app
take this paragraph.
and message.
Yeah, I can do it. This is the bottom one.
So basically, the question, the discussion question
Okay.
this week will be about your pages. So it'll be the most interesting thing that you read, and then the thing that you still have a question about from those 4 pages. Okay? All right, cool beans. I will put the airline information on Blackboard. Next week we'll talk about, we'll finish up chapter 4, we'll talk about some packing stuff, and then we'll, I'll probably give you a study guide for a test. I've decided all the tests will be open book. By open book, I mean open internet or whatever. So, yeah. All right.
Open Google.
Yeah, open Google. All right. Have a good night.
What do you make?